Kia ora koutou. As you can see, we have an abundance of apples. Here I am in my orchard at home, and this year has been a wonderful year for apples. So, what do you do with too many apples? Yes, you can give them to your friends and your family, but in isolation, it's a little bit difficult. So today I'm going to show you how to bottle. Such a wonderful thing to do with so many apples. So here I am in my lounge, and I've got all the wonderfully picked apples. Some of them are a little bit rotten, but that's okay, we'll cut those out. And I've got my preserving pan, my peeling knife, and my wonderful cutting knife. And I'm just going to peel the apples like so, round and round and round. And this is the most tedious part of the whole job, but a little bit of meditation can bring lots of joy and wonder to a tedious occupation. So there are many ways of doing this. As you go, you'll discover your own way, but this is how I do it. And I simply cut that into the pan like that. I have a little bit of water in the pan too. That just helps the apples from not going brown. There we are. The apples have come to the boil and I've turned them over a few times. So I'm just going to turn them over again. So this is what they're starting to look like. They're starting to mush up really nice. What I'm going to make today is an apple sauce, which is very traditional in my family, a Dutch family. It's called appelbos. It's a lovely apple sauce. So I'm just turning that over, just making sure it doesn't burn on the bottom. There are just a few important things that I forgot to tell you about. So I've shown you the jars. So here's our jar. Now this is really important. We've got to sterilize the jars before we put our apple sauce in them. So to do that, the best way that I've found is putting them into boiling water. So that's actually the flames going, it's on the heat, it's on full, because jars are cold, so when they go in it'll cool the water, so you've got to keep that going, that flame on there. So I can fit 2 in this saucepan and it's just perfect. Okay, so there's my jars in there, and I give them about a minute. So when I use a jar, like this, carefully tip that out, and I'm ready to use the jar, then I quickly put another jar in to replace that one. And then I take the other jar. So that's the most sterilized one. Now there's another thing I want to tell you that someone at work, she told me that she uses these jars. Now you'll see these jars have a lovely seal on them. So they're actually, if you only want small amounts, I mean that's quite a large amount, if you only want small amounts of applesauce, then you can use these, and I'm going to use these today and just see how this one works. And the final thing to tell you is that when you have your completed jar and it's really, really hot, you've taken it out, just make sure that you have a surface like a wooden cutting board is perfect. But if you put it on a cold, hard surface, particularly, these are quite cold, this jar is really, really hot when you've filled it up. So if you put it on here, they can crack. So very important to make sure that you've got a wooden board to put it on. Or you could use a cloth and just sit it on that cloth. Now I'm going to show you all the tools that we need for today's bottling exercise. So, first of all I'm going to show you this jar. This is a newish jar, and you can tell this is an older one. It's got this kind of lip on it. Okay, the new one requires a green screw top lid, and the old require a yellow screw top lid. So that's most important. And you'll also need to get these ceiling domes. You can buy them from supermarkets, and they come all stuck together, all face down like this. So what I do when I go, I put them into some hot water to sterilize, but I turn them around so that they're facing each other. That way they're easily to pull out of the hot water. Just a little trick I've learnt over the years. So they're going to go into there, and I'm going to put some boiling water on top of them like that. Now I'll show you some of the old. This was a plum that I did recently, and tomato. Now the thing about the tomato is that you don't need to add any water. Remember how I told you we're going to have to add a little bit of water to the apples? Well, with the tomato you don't add any water, or the plums. I added a little bit with the plums just to start so they wouldn't burn, but tomatoes and plums you definitely don't need to add water. And Johanna did one here and she added quite a bit of water. This is her apples. This is the most exciting part, with lots of things to consider here. So we've got our apple sauce. Oh my gosh, look at that. Isn't that looking really wonderful? So I'm just going to give that a stir with my wooden spoon here. Now I've got that down on low. There we are, look at that. There's a few lumps in it still, but it'll be alright. Okay. Now, here's my ladle for pouring into the jars. I'm just going to give that a bit of a sterilise first as well. I just sit it in there like that. I've got my lids on low. No, they're not. Hang on. I'll just put them in low heat here. I've got my lids on low. I put a plate here. This is a plate that won't crack. It'll take real high heat. And I've got this here. Now the other thing is that I pour some boiling water in this. The thing is that the reason why I do that is because these jars are really hot, and if they go onto a cold surface, sometimes they crack. So now I've got that nice and sterilised. That there, I'm ready to go. I can just rest it on the lip there. Okay, so the first thing we do now is get our first jar. Oh, that's starting to flip out a bit. Just turn that off, right? There we are. And we just gently pour that in. Like that. Noticing I'm wearing a glove. Just saves any kind of burning when you're taking your jar out from the hot water. There we go, we fill that right to the top. Now, just a recent trick I've been doing just recently is I fill it almost to the top, and then I put a little bit of hot boiling water on the top. Like that. And you'll notice too there's some apple sauce around the top of the rim there. So we're just going to need to clean that off because you don't want any food in between the dome. Here we are. And now I'm going to grab a hot lid here, place that on top. And we've got a lip on this, so it's an old jar, and we place that on there like that. There we go. Now I grab my tea towel. That's going to be quite hot. Give that a real firm squeeze. And I'll just give that a wipe down like that. And there's our first jar. Here we are the next day, and look, we've got all our wonderful jars of apples which were in our pot, and now they're in here. We've got nature's goodness, and these will last. I've had these lasting for at least 2 years even. But I wanted to just show you something that's really important here. So this is a completed one, and you'll notice that the lid has sunken in. So what's happened is as it's cooled down, it sucked the lid in, and that's caused the lid to seal. So there I can pull against that and it won't open up. When I do open it up with my fingers, it goes and lets in all that air. So that has sealed properly. But here is one that I did yesterday and it didn't seal properly, and notice it's still sitting up proud. So if it's still sitting proud, then you'll know that you didn't it didn't seal, so you'll have to do that one again or add it with another batch. Now the other thing I just wanted to show you is you just unscrew all those like so. They, as I said, they are perfectly sealed, and you'll notice there's a little bit of old apple sauce around the top there. So I just take it over to the water like that and just give it a bit of a clean like that around that rim. And then I'm ready to put that in my pantry or in my cupboard outside. But you see, it's wonderfully sealed and you've got all your apples in there. Hey presto, there's bottling.